Hi there, BookTube! My name is Christina and today I'm here with a very final episode for this short series of guidelines that I have for beginners who are trying to start reading in a different foreign language. So today we're focusing on the essentials. What do you need when you're starting to read in a different language? Of course you need a book. But about that we already talked. So you already decided the language in which you're interested, you already decided, you know, your level, you decided what kind of book you're interested into, you already decided the genre, and you probably already bought or borrowed a book. So you have a book in your hands and you need to start reading it. What else you may need? Well, the things that I used throughout all of my learning processes were, first of all, the book itself, of course. Then, the second thing that I found to be very useful were Postits, a bunch of colorful small Postits. Why? Because I personally hate writing on books, but if you are one of those people who are okay with writing in a book, then by all means go and write on them, because I personally love seeing used and consumed books on which you have written some notes or something like that. I'm still trying to gather the courage to do so, but I would love to do so in the future. So I personally use Postits. I just took one and will write down maybe a word that I didn't know for the page, or just used it to mark a page in order to get back to it and check out the grammar of a part that I didn't understand very well, or the meaning of a word. Why not? So Post-its, and of course a pen or a pencil. So it's up to you to decide. And this can be very useful because each and every time you write down something, you actually memorize it more for some reason. So if you will write down a couple of times maybe a new word that you just discovered, then it will stick in your mind a little bit more. Something else that you may do is to actually get a notebook and to use a notebook just to collect words that are interesting for you, or that you cannot remember when you need them, but then you see them on the page and you know the meaning, but in the everyday kind of conversation it never comes up into your mind. Then write it down in a notebook, because that's really helpful. So this is my suggestion: to search for words that you don't know, to write them down. And of course, what else do you need when you are reading in a foreign language? It's a dictionary. You will need a dictionary. You may get so many different apps on your phone nowadays that you don't actually maybe need like the physical kind of dictionary, but it's always nice to have one, because I still think that the physical ones have more in them, even if the things that you may find on the internet are more kind of into a context, so it's easier to understand, but then the physical kind of dictionary gives you so much more interpretations and examples and so on and so on. So it's up to you to decide what you prefer to do, but a dictionary is definitely worth the high expense, because usually they are quite expensive. And when you're getting familiar enough with the language, then the thing that I suggest you, because it was a suggestion that I received from my teachers back in the days when I was learning to become an interpreter and a translator, was to buy a monolingual dictionary. So just in one language, so that you will see the word and the explanation of it just in that language, so that it will automatically have a completely different meaning in your mind, and it will get a new kind of sense for you. I don't know what it is in a monolingual dictionary, but it's very useful, believe me. And then something else that I discovered only later was the magic of an e-reader. The e-readers, they're actually amazing, because mine, first of all, is completely dead at this moment, but don't mind it. Actually, the e-readers are amazing because they allow you to read in a foreign language, and then if you have the dictionary of that language just uploaded inside, it allows you to just go with the arrows and select the word that you're interested into, and down below it gives you the explanation of what that word means. And I found it so helpful, especially in reading some kind of books. Like, for example, when I'm reading non-fiction books in English, I still love reading them on an ebook reader, because usually there are some words that I'm not familiar with, and this helps so amazingly much. So these are the physical objects that I usually use: some Post-its, a pen, a pencil, a notebook, an Ereader, a dictionary, a monolingual dictionary, an app on my phone. But the very last thing that you need, and that nobody can give you because it's not a physical object, is patience. You need to have a bunch, a lot, I don't know, a bag, wherever, of patience. Just because it's very easy, as I already said before, to get discouraged and to lose your patience, and just to start believing that you will never improve, that it's too difficult, that there are too many other things that you may start doing. It's true, but if you decided to read in a foreign language, this means that you're passionate about it, you're passionate about the country in which they speak that language. And moreover, if you think about your final goal, it means that you will have in the future so much more and many more books to read, because let's face it, not all of the books are translated nowadays. And if you read in a foreign language, it allows you to get access to so much more literature, old literature, new literature, just amazing books that you won't be able to read otherwise. And that's the reason why I love reading in English, in Italian, in Russian, in French. I'm struggling, but I'm still trying to do so, just because that way I'm able to read so much more. For example, fortunately, a lot of books are translated from English into Italian when they are popular enough. And this is something that you need to keep in mind. And a lot of books are translated into English, but only if they get popular enough. And you know, being a reader, that there are so many gems out there that don't have enough appreciation from the big public. They don't become the next big bestseller maybe, but they are amazing and they're worth reading, and you just cannot do it because you don't know the language. But if you know the language, that's a whole another story. This means that you just have a huge amount of books, and you may choose whatever your heart wants, whatever genre, whatever kind of edition, because maybe the edition in a different country is more beautiful than the one that they are selling at your local bookstore at that moment. So that's one more plus that you may consider. So yeah, as you may see, I'm very passionate about this argument, and in the future I will probably try and film a short guide for readers who are trying to restart reading in a foreign language, because this is something with which I'm struggling right now. I'm trying to force myself to read more in French. It's not easy, but I will get there for sure one day. I hope that you enjoyed this series and that it was somehow helpful for you. If you have any questions or you want any kind of suggestion, then just leave a comment down below. I will leave the links to the previous episodes down below. And yeah, since the sun is completely disappearing, I will leave it here, and I hope that I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye! Ciao!